You are very good at seeming angry. I don't know if you are angry in general, but in the movies, in 21 and 22...
Yeah.
At first glance, it might have seemed like just another interview, just another celebrity talking about Hollywood. But this wasn't that. This wasn't a PR puff piece or a cleverly disguised marketing ploy. This was Ice Cube stepping into the fire with gasoline in his pocket and a name list in his hand. He wasn't here to play nice. He wasn't here to toe the industry line. He was here to blow it wide open. And the moment he started talking, everything changed. Because Ice Cube wasn't just ranting about industry politics, he was naming names. Loudly, clearly, with no room for misunderstanding. And he didn't just go after the easy targets. No, he went for the ones everyone else tiptoes around. Diddy, Oprah, Hollywood's untouchable elite. The moment Cube dropped Oprah's name into the conversation, it was like ripping the mask off a statue. Revered, protected, untouchable. Until now. But Ice Cube wasn't being reckless. He was being deliberate. He knew exactly what he was doing. This wasn't a slip-up. It was a declaration. For too long, the entertainment industry has hidden behind smiling faces and scripted unity, selling the public a fantasy while burying the truth. Cube wasn't having it anymore. According to Cube, Hollywood isn't run by creativity or talent, it's run by fear. A network of behind-the-scenes gatekeepers control everything. Who gets to shine? Who gets sidelined? Who gets erased? And it's all enforced through rituals, blacklists, and silent surveillance. Step into one of their private events and you're stripped of your phone at the door. But the cameras don't stop rolling. Hidden eyes capture everything. Not for nostalgia, not for promotion, but for leverage. You ever try to speak out? Step out of line. Suddenly, the footage resurfaces. Suddenly, you're blacklisted. Suddenly, you don't exist. And Cube, he knows because he lived it. This wasn't abstract theory to him. It was personal experience. He spoke about trying to book interviews, mainstream ones, daytime ones, the kind that would seem like a no-brainer for a man with his resume. But the doors didn't just close, they locked. Shows like The View wouldn't touch him. And why? Not because of controversy, but because he didn't belong to what he called the go-along-to-get-along gang. He wasn't playing the game. He wasn't selling the narrative. And in Hollywood, that's enough to get you ghosted. But Ice Cube didn't sulk. He didn't beg. He built. He turned rejection into rebellion. And that rebellion took the shape of The Gatekeepers, a podcast tour designed not just to expose the rot at the heart of the industry, but to bypass it entirely. No handlers. No filters. No corporate spin. Just raw, uncut truth. And the message was clear. Stop begging for validation from a system that was never designed to see you win. What made his message even more potent was the growing list of names that began to connect like puzzle pieces. Monique, Taraji, Jamie Foxx. All black entertainers with massive potential. All of them, at some point, inexplicably sidelined. Promising projects mysteriously cancelled. Public support vanished without a word. And in every case, one thing stood out: they had spoken up. Refused to play the PR game. Declined to be puppets. And in return, the system did what it always does. It silenced them. Quietly. Ruthlessly. None more chilling than what happened to Jamie Foxx. Cube didn't mince words. Jamie was Hollywood royalty. Talented. Loved. Bankable. And yet, he vanished. One moment he was shooting for a Netflix project. The next, gone. Official story. Medical emergency. But Cube suggested otherwise. According to him, a phone call changed everything. One call. One voice with enough power to halt a production and send Fox into silence. That's the level of control these gatekeepers have. They don't argue. They don't threaten. They just erase. And then there's the matter of those infamous parties. The ones whispered about for years but rarely confirmed. Ice Cube says they're real. Not just real, strategic. You're invited, sure. But it's not for fun. It's not for community. It's a test. A trap. Your phone goes in a basket. Cameras go on. And if you mess up, if you say too much, drink too much, get too comfortable, that moment is documented. Stored. Held. Insurance for later. Want to speak out? Want to criticize the wrong person? Suddenly, you remember that footage. Suddenly, you remember who really holds the power. It's not just about what you do. It's about what you know. And who you upset. Monique found that out the hard way. After winning an Oscar, she should have been riding high. But she said no. No to the press tour. No to the campaign machine. No to Oprah. And Hollywood doesn't reward no. It punishes it. Her career didn't just stall, it was stripped bare. Even worse, Oprah allegedly invited Monique's estranged brother, her abuser, onto national television without her consent. That's not journalism. That's psychological warfare. That's the machine showing you what it's capable of when you step out of line. But Oprah isn't immune to controversy either. Cube pointed to her South African school, where allegations of abuse surfaced. But while others are crucified for less, Oprah's headlines disappeared. The stories faded. Because when you're part of the machine, it protects its own. It spins for you. It hides your stains. And it buries the bodies you step over to stay clean. Ice Cube isn't painting this as some conspiracy theory. He's calling it what it is, a structure. A coordinated, well-oiled system that decides what the public sees and what it forgets. And the scariest part? It works. Because people don't question what they don't see. They don't ask why some actors vanish. They don't ask why certain projects are mysteriously pulled. Silence becomes normal. Vanishing becomes expected. That's why Cube's voice matters now more than ever. He's not asking for sympathy. He's demanding transparency. He's challenging the illusion. He's watched too many people, strong people, fade away because they refused to bend the knee. And he knows the next name on that list could be his. That's the price of truth in a world built on lies. When he walked into Diddy's federal courtroom, it wasn't to watch. It was to send a message. The time for whispers is over. The time for playing nice is done. He's naming names. And if the industry shakes every time he speaks, it's because it knows he's telling the truth. He isn't alone either. More artists are stepping forward. Quietly. Cautiously. But they're watching Cube. They're listening. Because when one voice dares to speak, others follow. And every new story, every hidden truth dragged into the light, chips away at the illusion. The machine might still be running, but it's glitching. And the cracks are beginning to show. Is Hollywood hiding something darker, or is this all just coincidence? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and if you're ready to keep peeling back the curtain, hit like, subscribe, and share. We're just getting started.